All right, let's fire away. You're listening to You Can't Laugh at That, the podcast where we take topics that you can't laugh at. And fuck you, Jeremy. No, I don't know.
How do you think this works? Or you just go, hey, hit record, and it doesn't take us.
I just saw recording and I was like, it's on.
Yeah, Jeremy, you saw recording. I see it too.
Yeah. We can all agree that we all see recording, right?
Yeah, but
Right.
that doesn't mean the other thing's not recording.
You're right. He's recording the video, not the audio.
Let the producer produce here, all right, fellas?
The reason this guy has the big headphones.
This dude's in the driver's seat over here. Don't even worry about it. We're getting where we're going. We're getting there.
You don't sound Canadian. You're like, we're going to get there, pal.
All right, sorry if we're going to be a little bit late, but we're getting in there. This is the Patreon exclusive part of the podcast.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Hey,
so.
friends, thanks for paying extra to be here. Hope
Hey,
we make it
friend.
worth your while, friend. Yes.
Hi, Brian.
I asked earlier if these guys were running an OnlyFans. That joke was really fun about 30 seconds ago before we pressed record. Now it's just like, why do we bother?
Yeah.
Get new material, or at least edit it so it's funny again to all of us.
Get new material? Have you? I would love to. That's what everyone's been telling me for months.
Get some new material. All right, you are listening to You Can't Laugh at That, the podcast where we take topics you can't laugh at and we find ways to laugh at them in our never-ending quest to prove that anything can be funny. With me, as always, is our interstellar co-host, Steve Mers. Steve,
Hey,
how's it going up
kids.
there?
I'm doing well.
How's the air up there?
That's not funny. No, I meant like as in don't disparage my height, but then I remembered I'm in space. So yeah, it's it's depleting.
That's perfect.
Steve, do you ever go by Steve Mars? Come on. That's
Thanks,
why I'm on the pod.
Thanks,
What's
third
up?
grade. That's what I remember that as. That was what I got in third grade, and it made me so like angry. No, I'm not angry anymore about it. I don't care, but it's just.
I sense a little disdain in your.
Once again, I forgot I was in space, and I'm like, I thought it was just the name variation, but really, I should be Mars. Yeah, you're right. So.
Yeah. A lot of comedy has to do with self-awareness, Steve. I thought you would know that by now.
Well, I'm not really in space, David.
And that's my lack of awareness. So, my lack of awareness.
No, but yeah.
Joining us on this episode is Zach Wycuff. He is a comedian based out of Cincinnati, Ohio. He is a regular. Are you a regular at Go Bananas? Because you should.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I mean, you don't know the operation they run there, but but I am. Yeah, no, I'm there quite a bit. Big fan.
Zach has performed in at least one comedy festival that I know of. You want to introduce us to who you are as a human being?
Oh, so you're gonna make me give my own credits? Dope.
Talk about yourself.
Yeah, I've done a couple of festivals. Cleveland, Louisville, a couple in Indianapolis. This is the worst credit because it's so insane, but there's this thing called Funniest Person in Cincinnati, a local contest in Cincinnati that I've won 2 times, and it does not mean anything, is what I've learned.
Well, you get a lifetime supply of Skyline chili.
Oh, man. If I did. I would just have them spoon it right into my mouth. The king of Cincinnati comedy. They just hand it to you on chili fries. Oh, God. No.
I'm still baffled as to how that's considered chili and not bolognese. It's like spaghetti with bolognese.
I don't know, man. I'm a Cincinnati transplant and I've never gotten it. But I've lived here long enough where like if it's been a month or 2, I'm like, my body needs this runny meat with chocolate and cinnamon in it. Like I need it injected into me. I don't know what it is. There's something about being here. I think there's deficiencies in the water. I don't know.
If I remember correctly, it's a Greek immigrant food.
The way you said that almost sounded disdainful. Greek immigrant food.
Yeah, I know, right? It sounds so like derogatory, but it's like I think it was invented by a Greek immigrant, and it's obviously very like bastardized American food, like a lot of things in America as well. So, but,
that is what we do. Is we take stuff and ruin it.
Yeah.
As a fan of smooth jazz, let me tell you.
Radioactive cheese. It's like it glows in a very unnatural way.
Cheese isn't that color.
I know, it's suspiciously orange.
Best
Very
chili
fun.
in Cincinnati. I mean, it's would you say it's Skyline, or is there?
I would say so, just because it has the high. I haven't done enough. You know what I mean? Like I haven't done enough research because I like respect my bowels, and I'm not trying to like do a survey or whatever. Like that sounds like too much work, honestly. And I don't know if the toilet paper economy has ever recovered since the beginning of quarantine. So I'm just not going to risk it.
It looks questionable on the way in,
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. There was a comedian, Joe Coy, that came and did a show at UC when I was still at Cincinnati, and he did maybe 20 minutes about how like it's just you eat poop and then it looks like poop, and he did that for like 20 minutes. But he did, but it was funny.
Yeah.
Original.
Yeah, good times. But I think the best is probably Skyline. Gold Star. Like if you have Gold Star, you're just shunned from the
Silver Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, silver
Bronze.
at most, bronze
Yeah.
star.
Do you ever notice that anything that has the word like top or best or premier or gold is always the worst?
Yeah.
The store brand.
10 million%. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
They're
I can't stop.
pathological liars.
Yeah. There was when I lived in New York, around the corner from my apartment, there was a Chinese restaurant just called Best Chinese Food. And it was the worst Chinese food I've ever had. I don't know if it was because my expectations were high because it has the word best in it, and I'm like, it must be. And then it wasn't.
Also, way to flex that you lived in New York.
Yeah, no, that's a little humble. I'm going to bring that up 5 or 6 times throughout this podcast.
I don't know. Some listeners might not know this, but being from New York is a credit. If you just say you're from New York, people are like, oh my God. Because you can't be bad at comedy in New York.
Not at all. I've never seen a bad comedian.
Yeah, it's not saturated with untalented people at all.
Yeah. If you have credits, I'll say those if I introduce you. But if you're just from New York and I'm hosting a show and you're on the show, you better earn that shit. You're not messing around with that. Yeah.
Hey, random thought. I loved that sketch you were in that you did. What was it? It was a commercial for Pepsi with like with chewing tobacco, like spit in it.
Yes. Yeah. That was my. Thanks, man. That was my buddy David Chimasuro. He's if you see any picture of me with a black guy, that's him. But we both work together for a church. Boo! I know. But we do this thing every year called Super Bowl of Preaching, which is a terrible name. It's so dumb. But what they do is that every year they have like halftime commercials where we just like do actual parody commercials, and they let us do that one. We've written a couple other ones, but that by far was like one of the most fun ones.
It looked very like the production value was great, and it was very funny all on one. So I was like, wow, I was wowed, because that's what I do for a living is I film stuff, and I want to do a lot of comedy sketches and things like that. So I was like, wow, yeah, it was really good. Yeah,
shouts out to the tithers. Thanks for letting us get some nice cameras or whatever. Appreciate it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's fun, man. What do you do that professionally?
Yeah. I mean, it's a new career for me, but it's but yeah, I enjoy doing it too, and that's why I do it, because I like it. So
that's awesome. I've always wanted to be one of those. Yeah. That's awesome, man. I've always wanted to be one of those front-facing video cameras guys, where I just point a video camera at my face, and I'm just like, this is what President Trump would be like if he ate asparagus, and then just a million retweets.
A
And we'll figure
vlogger.
out how to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
I could be a blogger.
discount Andrew Schultz.
Exactly.
All
The
right.
gold star Andrew Schultz.
Best Andrew Schultz. Best comedy video. Please enjoy.
David, how long did you live in New York?
It's 2 years.
Okay. Were you doing comedy at the time, or were you just hanging?
I did sketch and improv at the time.
Well,
Did not do stand up until I moved back to a couple of years after I moved back to Cleveland. Even I was that guy that was like, oh, I do characters. I'm a sketch writer, and then I did stand up a couple times and tried to write one-liners, which is very not me, and that disparaged me from doing stand up. Discouraged me from doing stand up.
Sure.
We've said disparage like 3 times. So that's just the word that I'm going to use for any 3-syllable D word. But
well, I said I work at a church, so I'm trying to make sure you guys know I'm smart.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah. And that's why we brought you on. You're funny. You're smart. You work at a church. We're missing out on that third demographic. Most of the comics we've had on do not work at a church. And so we're filling that blank in right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm excited to bring in the boomer demographic
Yeah.
to this podcast.
Yeah, yeah, or even you might be the only comic we've had on that actually goes to church, which might be.
All right.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
that's a missing demographic, and that's kind of the reason that I wanted to reach or have you on the show to begin with. First of all, I mean, you are very funny.
Thanks, buddy. Right back at you.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure.
Thanks,
I've
man.
seen you at the Cleveland Comedy Festival. I mean, you had a real tight 7, and the audience at that festival seemed pretty tight too.
They really were. I was like, oh man, we had a rough time. I had a rough time.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about that
It was
room.
fun.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I was
some
at
of the later
start
showcases.
of all shows, yeah.
Some of the later showcases were better, but I remember those open mics. I'm sure you do too, right? I think that's what we're mostly talking about is the open mics. I mean, I didn't see all the shows, but I remember some of the last shows were good, but everything else was kind of like,
Yeah.
tight. Yes.
I don't know what it was.
Like, why are you wasting your own time?
Right.
Loosen up a little bit.
What's comedy?
Yeah, but as a comic, you appreciate other comics jokes, especially when you're in the same city, you see the same comic do the same jokes over and over. It's nice to see new faces and
Yeah,
new
man.
material. And your stuff on being Christian is very funny. It's late night set worthy.
Oh, thanks, man.
Your delivery. I've watched your Wiley's video that we're about the clip that we're about to show a few times. And what we're gonna do this one a little bit differently. Normally we'll play the whole clip and then talk about it as a whole. But I think yours, the way you put together the bit and like there's clear like bits in the chunk. I guess I should say the chunk rather than the bit. That and the way you thread them together and bring it together to a close. Like I'm gonna talk about I'm gonna geek out about it and then kind of dive into your brain.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, I'll say the same thing Johnny Cash says, if I could write it any better, I would.
Yeah, that's I feel like too many comics start off, they write a joke and they're like, well, that's the best this joke's gonna get.
I've never felt that way about anything I've written.
No, I will forever edit and never stop. And it's almost a flaw, but it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, Jeremy, take us away on the first part of this clip.
You better be ready.
Better be ready, and don't have it muted.
Now.
Oh boy, it's gonna be painful.
I'm a big fan of the Lord. Anybody? All right, cool. One guy I'll see in heaven. That'll be cool. Sweet. Everybody else, don't worry. There's still time. Guys, I grew up in a super churchy home. This is true. My parents were in a small Southern gospel group known as the Heaven Bound Singers, which I always thought was kind of a cocky name. You know, like, you guys don't get to make that call. It was just a bunch of like old white people singing like country songs about Jesus. It's like if Cracker Barrel had a house band, you know? Until I was 12, I had never heard what you might call like secular music. And how do you guys know what secular means? It just means like good. That's fun.
All right.
I'm Christian.
Part one.
Bad boy. You know.
I love that
that's
the
solid.
next. Thanks, man. I love that the next suggested video is Bill Burr talking about white women, and that's my next. It's my next type 5. Listen up, whiteys. Oh man, I had to. That was really fun because I had to pretend to feel uncomfortable watching that, like I haven't watched it a million times by myself, just alone in my room.
Wow, that's my first time watching it.
Oh, this is so
Yeah.
embarrassing watching me crush.
I wish they didn't laugh for so long.
It's like they're laughing at me. Well, yeah. It's like
Oh boy.
I mean, so that's the very first joke in. Well, what do you? I forget because that's about 16 seconds in. So you go up, you basically introduce yourself, and then you
Right.
right in.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to dive right in. I watched another clip of you, and you mentioned, you say, I am a big fan of the Lord, like
Yeah.
all the other comics before me, which I assumed there were a bunch of them like ripping on religion.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Yeah, man. That's so I've been using that little thing for such a long time because I have not figured out another way to like introduce that I am a Christian person, and it's like such an uncomfortable thing to talk about, like that I like I have to like find some way to explain to people like I get there's baggage with that. I'm one of the good ones.
I was gonna say you seem to have somewhat of a persecution complex, not in a bad way, just like because I totally understand
Well,
why.
I am a white man, so
Right. It makes sense on a level, but I was like you just said. I honestly, you're a good Christian. Like I can tell, at least from what I see on social media and things like that. I'm like, oh, I like this guy. It's not like you said with the baggage and stuff. So you're leading
Right.
a good example. So
oh, thanks.
so I have
man.
no problem with people like that. Like that's great. That's awesome. So
Yeah, maybe it's me just projecting my past
well,
with
hey,
the church and everything onto everyone else. That's probably what it is.
yeah.
I mean, that's all that good comedy is a hindsight perspective on things that I've been through, on my own experiences. Almost being able to step out of the scene, like you're an audience member to your own life, and like you're communicating that. Because I mean, if you think of it, like if you were to watch Seinfeld, for example, I don't know what made me think of that, but
Video people will know.
Yeah.
What's up, OnlyFan?
He's wearing a Seinfeld shirt for those of you who aren't part of our Patreon. So that gives you, it's patreon.com/you can't laugh pod.
There it
Anyway,
is.
there it is. Yeah, you can
Trying
watch
to get you
video
guys
of
that
it.
extra cheddar.
Thank you, for sure. Which isn't the kind of cheese that's on Cincinnati chili.
Hey, all right.
No.
Boom. It's poser cheddar. Anyway.
Chernobyl.
So in Seinfeld, the characters in the show aren't aware that they're part of a comedy. So everything to them is serious, whereas the audience is laughing at how seriously they take themselves. And I think that's what, you do that really well going into this bit, which, you have that outsider and insider perspective of this thing that is normally looked at in comedy from the totally opposite angle.
Yeah.
You're like uplifting, but you're also like pointing out the incongruities, so to speak.
That's a really good insight. Wow. Thank you for breaking that down for me. I was just like, boy, I got to bring this up somehow because later I'm going to talk about how I'm a virgin, and that's going to confuse some folks. So,
Right.
again, video people will know I'm like hot or whatever. So like I could, I could if I wanted, but I gotta,
Do you make that a bit? Is that like a bit already?
Kinda. I talk about it a lot.
That would be really funny. That would be really funny.
I could if I wanted.
That's hilarious.
Now, unlike all of you heathens, I have self-control.
I'm sure you touch on, I don't know if you touch on this in your material, but I'm sure you know that, like, you're like a comic, you're not like you're a Christian comic, but you're not like a Christian comic, you know?
Ooh.
Like, do you, like,
you just gave me such joy hearing that.
Yeah, good. I'm hoping,
Thank
I don't
you.
want this to be like, because I feel like some people lean into it too much, not in the sense that they talk about their faith or whatever, but it's rather just, they're too squeaky clean, and it's corny. And it's like, you manage to be witty and not necessarily, you don't like give into like the heathenism of really edgy comedy either. You know what I mean? Like you have the talent, but you're not like, oh, this guy's corny. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so like
thanks, man.
Yeah, exactly. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. Cause I went into this thinking like, dude, I don't know. I grew up watching like Thou Shalt Laugh or whatever. Like, have you guys ever heard of that?
No.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. It's the worst. It's the worst.
I feel like if Jesus did an open mic, told a joke, and nobody laughed, he would
rule number 1, do not command people to laugh. Don't force it.
That's so funny.
What was that like?
Yeah. So it's like this DVD collection of all Christian comedians, and it just felt to me so, it just for people in the bubble. You know what I mean? Like, we get all our own little inside jokes, and like everybody here gets it. And if you don't get it, well, have fun in hell. Like that's seriously, that's what it feels like, man. So going into this, I always wanted to be a comedian who is a Christian and not a Christian comedian. So you saying that made me feel real nice.
Yeah, so and it just proves to people that it's totally possible. You can just be a good comedian and be a Christian all at the same time, and then wrap your faith into it any way you want, but not be like disingenuous or corny or whatever else you might, I don't want to like completely I used to trash Christian comics a lot when I was younger, but then I've gotten some more wisdom, and I'm like, just let them be who they are. But at the same time, I can still kind of judge their what do you want to call it? Like their disingenuous nature of it, not necessarily the whole thing of, because everybody's comes from a certain environment, and that's just what it is, so it's like,
right.
I
feel that.
Mm-hmm.
A good comic doesn't preach. Like, a good comic doesn't tell you what to think. A good comic like makes you think that without you realizing.
Oh, dang. Because I could preach. I could do that.
Yeah. and I think what you do in this bit, just from an outsider's perspective, is that you open up. You'd say, "See you," like, "I'll see you in heaven," and then to everyone else, there's still time. Like, that's kind of a fun. Just, it communicates that this is going to be fun. I'm not going to preach to you.
Right.
Which, ironically enough, it's more the atheist comics that do the preaching.
Right.
I mean, I find a lot more atheists will preach versus people who are Christian.
Well,
or even just politics.
Yeah, politics.
Oh yeah, golly.
I'm not here to listen to that.
Yeah.
I talk a lot about politics, but the thing is, I don't preach about it. I just make sure what I say is brief and as funny as possible. It's not about trying to change people's minds.
Yeah. I feel that. I mean, man, I can't talk about politics because one of my lowest capabilities is like having an opinion. And 2, I don't know, I just want everyone to like me or whatever. So it's very genuinely hard to talk about stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It definitely can divide a room, or you just omit. It can keep you from working a whole area, right. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah.
And that's never the comedy I liked either, honestly. I was never like a Bill Hicks guy or whatever. I don't know, Mike Birbiglia, John Mulaney. Ironically enough, I love Dave Chappelle, but I mean, that's not I don't know. I can't do that. I love him, but I can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
You respect it.
Right.
As opinionated as I might get, I just make sure that what I say is funny and brief, and I move on, and I try not to be too like preachy with people. I'm always like, just here, look, this is a funny joke. Yes, it is opinionated on one end of the spectrum of what my opinion is on it, but I'm not here to like, I just want you to laugh. Like, come on.
Yeah. Love me. That's
Right.
me. That's again me projecting.
Thou shalt love me.
Maybe I should talk about thou shalt laugh.
Thou shalt laugh. Thou shalt love me.
So dumb.
And then you go into talking about your upbringing. Like your parents were part of a Christian music group.
Yes.
Called the Heaven Bound Singers.
Mm-hmm.
And, which, your next line, you guys don't get to make that call. Like, I think that is, you're taking a criticism that a lot of people have of Christians, just like deciding who gets to go to heaven when, like, a big part of Christianity is only God can judge. And it's like, you're not even listening to yourself, guys. So, I mean, you kind of.
I would never tell my parents that, but yes.
Right. It's so easy to judge. I mean, even like not even on a religious level, just on a behavioral level, you look at people and you see them do something or say something or behave a certain way, and your instant reaction is to judge them based off of our own beliefs, which I think is a flawed way of thinking. It's very limiting.
Yeah. So I mean, Jesus hung out with a bunch of prostitutes.
Yeah.
And tax collectors.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't expect you to say that.
I know, right? And tax collectors. Listen here, the IRS. Bunch.
Yeah.
No. Give to Caesar what's Caesar's. Tax is cool. I'm not trying to get canceled by the government. Whatever.
Yeah.
Or the Vatican.
They watch this. This is what people are worried about, the microchip that they're following us. They're watching, they're listening to our podcast.
Right.
So, hey, the government, why don't you take some of that stimulus money and become a patron?
Yeah. Have you met your fans? How do you know one of them isn't an FBI agent?
That's a good point. You don't know that.
Probably not. I thought I was going to be in the FBI at one point. That's another story. What's up?
I feel like Catholic guilt comes from their knowing that they're like, well, we made Jesus who he is, but also we feel bad about it. Like, I think that's messed up. I just had that thought. That's not something I've been waiting to say. So.
What do you mean? Like,
well, because the Romans, like what they did to Jesus. So it's like, they're like, well, we made him who he is, but also it's pretty bad that we did that. It's kind of confusing.
You like crucified him, you mean? Or you mean like,
yeah, or
listen
whatever.
here, sweetheart, I run this town. Like
yeah.
That kind of thing.
The deputies.
I'm the pilot of this plane.
The Pontius Pilate.
Yeah,
what's up?
Okay.
All right.
Jeremy, we're cutting that. So going back to
yes.
your upbringing,
yeah.
How did you funnel that into comedy? Because I'd be willing to bet that it was a little more. I don't know. You tell your story. Like how did you go from being the child of Christian musicians to comedian?
Yeah. So I don't know. I always loved comedy. Like there's a picture of me in the back of our little our traveling bus when I'm like 7 years old and I have a bowl cut and I'm reading like the Sunday funnies, and there were times where like we would come back from, do you guys know revival? Does that mean anything to you, that word? It's something
Creedence
Baptist.
Clearwater. Is it like a
yes. It's like that, but worse music. What's that?
Is it a festival?
I mean,
yeah,
kind of. It's like you do church every day of the week and you are not revived at the end. It's the worst. So we would be in church sometimes, literally every night of the week. So we would come back on Saturday nights and I couldn't watch like a lot of stuff growing up. Like I couldn't watch like The Simpsons or like Pee-wee's Playhouse. I think that was more of like a him jacking it thing. than a content
Right.
issue. But every night when we got back, we would get home on Saturday nights and we'd watch SNL, which was crazy. Like, right? Like,
You, you weren't allowed to watch Huey and
That's funny.
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But we would always watch SNL. Maybe we were just too tired to turn it, or whatever. It was the only interesting thing on. I don't know. But I loved it. We would always watch like the late night shows. Like we were a Leno household, and I only learned later that he was like not good. Whatever. I was like, this is the height of comedy. You know,
Yeah.
everybody should have big chins.
yeah.
That's where all the comedy's stored.
In Jay's garage. You're right.
The hanger.
It's definitely not on TV. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
My parents, the same thing. Leno household. Like my mom now, she'll be like, I just wish the late night hosts were as funny as Jay Leno was.
Yeah.
And,
He's all right, but you know,
He's fine.
he's
That was a good impression.
yeah. That's how you evaluate his comedy, by doing an impression of him. That's how you evaluate it. What do you think of Jay Leno?
And Kevin Eubanks is in the corner like, all right. All right. So I always loved comedy. I thought, like, I don't know, up until for real, like college, like I thought you had to like go to some like magic, like Harry Potter university to do it. Like I didn't like New York or LA. I thought you just had to do that. So I got to college, and there was a mentor guy that I hung out with. He was a little bit older, and he told me about how he did improv. And I was like, wait, you can just like do that? He's like, yeah. So I just Googled Cincinnati open mic, and I found the one at Go Bananas and did that March 11th, 2015. And I've been hooked on the sweet, sweet drug of people's approval ever since.
that's called serotonin, and
That's great. Big
it is
fan.
a sweet, sweet drug. I'm addicted to it.
It's nature's drug, because it's like the fruit versus candy thing, where you're just it's in your brain already. It's not like you're getting it off some guy on the street,
Right.
Yeah.
unless you're stealing jokes from him or something.
And even then, like if you can steal jokes, you're not like, you almost feel, God, when I first started, I did one joke that was somebody else's joke, and I felt like a piece of shit afterwards. It was like, oh, I'm never going to do that again, because it got laughs, and it just made me feel like less of a person. So there's no serotonin there. That's cortisol. That's stress. That's not. But
Yeah.
like you were saying, Steve, it's nature's candy. It's instead of going.
I never said that.
I heard it differently. Let me
It's
get
on
some
record.
It was
on stage and
DMT.
get some of this nature's candy.
I didn't say something that dumb. Come on. Erase that, Jeremy.
Yeah. But no, it's the difference of chasing after a high and creating it yourself. Like, so
Oh,
I did.
yeah.
I enjoyed some cocaine for a little bit of my life, because I was like chasing a certain high. But then I got on stage, and as corny as this sounds, like I found it, and I was like, oh, that's it. And that's when I stopped doing cocaine. So that's
Yeah.
like.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny that you said enjoyed. Like, yeah, I like to sit back, relax in a bubble bath.
Sit back, relax in a bathroom stall for comfort. But.
It's joking.
Oh boy.
So we're gonna get back to your story.
Yes.
Nature's
Puns are poison.
Weirdly, I've heard this somewhere. I think there's something about being in a church for hours and hours and hours that, like, you see what a good show is like. Like, you see what it makes a performance work and not work, and you see what makes like energy in a room work and not work. And I think there's something to that, like the empathy of just like how things are supposed to run, and how like being in a room and you're like, oh, it was weird when he just led with the hell thing. You're not gonna like build up to it. Like I don't know. I think there's something to that. But yeah, man, I just wanted to do, I don't know. I think this is something I think about a lot. Like, if God made everything, like, that means he made art, he made comedy, he made stuff for us to appreciate. So, like,
Bruce Valanche.
sure. Who's that?
Oh, I don't know. Not worth explaining, really.
Okay.
I don't know who that is either. So at this point, it's just a guy Steve knows.
Sure. Yeah. Probably he made that. So if, you know, but so much of like the stuff I was seeing, like Christian comedy, was just not good. You know, it just wasn't fun. So I don't know. I feel like if God made everything, like, why wouldn't we want to make stuff that is also good, that is like honoring? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably a little too deep, but that's where we're at, baby.
No, it's good. That's why we're here. That's actually the crux of this whole thing, probably, is you saying that.
Yeah.
That's a sound bit. We'll use that as a clip.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then cut in the time where I tried to the OnlyFan joke, and it bombed in the first 30 seconds.
We just want to let our listeners know that it worked before we started recording.
Got to reuse material, baby.
Yeah. But no, I see what you're saying. Like, it's meant to be like, we're kind of the instrument, you know, going by what you're saying. So why not make it the best we can?
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
it'd be like saying, well, God didn't invent medicine, so we're not, you know, we shouldn't use medicine and we should let him heal us. It's like,
yeah,
no.
here's some tree bark. No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, the parable about the person like asking for help from God in a flood, and like they send the helicopter and the boat, and then he dies and gets to heaven and is like, yo, where were you, man? I was praying for you. And God's like, like the dude on the boat and the guy in the helicopter, like that was me. So what do you know?
Yeah.
Heard that one.
So what you should hear from this is vaccinate your children.
Just clarify.
God's cool with it, I promise. Anyways.
All right.
It's better than a scourge. You know, I mean, if you think about it, I would take guaranteed autism over. Well, I'm already autistic, I suppose, but it's a long lost suspicion. But no, seriously though, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to preach about vaccination right now.
We wouldn't have comedians if we didn't have vaccines.
Right.
What you're saying. Okay. Let's rock out the next part of the bit. So part 2, Jeremy.
I'm coming.
I have to tell my girlfriend her laundry's done. You hear that?
No.
Exactly.
Nice.
I'm Christian, but I'm kind of a bad boy. You know, like, I'll drink a beer. You know? Just like one, I still want to be able to, like, pray for Hadley. Or whatever. Yeah. Just one, guys. I'm not trying to raise hell. I'm just trying to lower heaven.
So dumb.
It's crazy. My parents aren't about this at all. Dave and Linda won't even order like a margarita pizza. Like they're not about it. Which is crazy because that was literally Jesus' first miracle. John 2, if you're going to pull out your Bibles. John 2. They ran out of wine at this wedding and they came to Jesus. That was the first time anyone was ever like, Jesus, take the wheel. He was like, okay. I went on a beer run. You know? Christian people would be the first to have like a dry wedding too. One of my buddies told me that. He was like, yeah, man, I think I'm gonna have a dry wedding. I wanted to tell him, hey, man, what would Jesus do? Probably not like people do the Cupid shuffle sober, I think. Fun fact, some people don't know this, but in modern translations, Jesus actually took that water and he turned it into White Claws. So... Oh man, I got doing that joke one time, and someone from off stage shouted, "Yeah, I heard Jesus got hammered," and I had to tell him, "No, that happened later in the story." Oh man, It's cool, guys. He came back at the end. I don't know if you're ready. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's solid. Holy shit.
Thanks, buddy. I feel like I've heard so many jokes about the Jesus turned water into wine thing.
But that's good.
We're out here.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if you have a premise and it's like, that might seem hack, but when you take it in your own unique direction, it's not hack anymore. So that's my opinion on that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do
That
it.
hammered thing. Oh, man. I haven't heard that one. I mean, people will do the nail jokes, but it's like, that was a tasteful one, and it was, like, unique, and no one did the hammered. I've never heard that, so.
Oh, heck yeah. Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
That is a real thing. Someone did shout that at me, and that was just like a in-the-moment riff I had, and I'm like, well, I'm keeping that forever.
Yep.
Really?
It was an otherwise, like, just okay set, and then that, like, crushed, and then nothing lived up to it the rest of the time. So I was like, well, I guess this goes in the act now.
And Lowering Heaven, never heard that. That's really funny. That's really good.
I have a friend that I love and respect, and he loves and respects me very much, comedian. And every time he hears that, he just flicks me off from the back of the room.
It's one of those things where it might seem, if you don't sell it well enough, it might seem like, but it's like, it's a good joke because you just have to like have the right, like I do a lot of jokes like that where people will either groan or give you an applause break. So it's like, you got to sell it the right way so you don't get that groan, you know? So.
Groan or applause break. That's where I live, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
That's
there
true.
Is nothing in between.
It's a great transition into the bit, first of all. Like, I am a bad boy. And have a beer, like one beer. So, I mean, that's funny in itself. And then you punch down on Catholics, which is great. Because
I don't have anything against Catholics. I mean, they're wrong or whatever, but other than that, like, I don't... I grew up like normal. I don't know. Like vanilla Christian. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I grew up in it. It feels like, I don't know. We were like white Baptists, if that makes any sense. So
you're not a spooky Christian.
Right.
I don't know how to describe that, but
no, that's the thing. Like people like, that, I don't know, play with snakes and like speak in tongues or something. I don't know.
Right, yeah, there's that. Yeah, Pentecostal. My grandpa's Pentecostal, so
okay, yeah. Great people. great potlucks. Been to so many Pentecostal potlucks. They know what they're doing. You know, say what you will about the Christian people. They know how to bring a covered dish. You know.
That needs to be. Thou shalt bring.
Everything's a command. Everything's a command from the guy that's just the mousiest. Like, what can I do to make you like me? Yeah.
This is mother's casserole. I mean, it's not like punching down on Catholics, but it's a very real stereotype that Catholics drink, and it's true. It's true. I grew up Catholic, and I went to Catholic schools all the way through, and everyone is still an alcoholic. So gotta overcome that.
Yeah.
Gotta overcome that whole thing. I mean, I remember like religion classes, like, you know, if you're not Catholic, then chances are you're gonna have a harder time getting into heaven. And it's like, well, what if you're just a good person? No. You have to do what we say, you know? And it's like, that was my moment where I was like, should I believe everything they tell me? Because I know a lot of good people, and I'd be pissed if I didn't see them in heaven.
Yeah.
So let's all go get drunk about it.
Theologically, they got a point. But what? Yeah, continue.
Yeah. No. So, but it got a good reaction. So, I mean, obviously, like, when did that joke come into play, and how?
Yeah. My parents are very not, like, that is a true thing. Like, they really do not like alcohol. As the years have gone on, and I think partly because of this joke, they're like more cool with it. Like I remember we went on vacation to Vegas a year ago, which like that's a whole other thing, by the way, hanging out with Christian people in Vegas. It's just
In Sin City?
Right. Like, I don't know what we thought we thought we were going to convert them. Like, I don't know. I don't know. We're going to make this the Sun City. You know what I mean?
The belly of the beast.
Exactly. We were going to do some Nineveh stuff up in there. Just no, we're not like that. But there was one restaurant we went to where there was like house wine that they just served with your meal. It just came with the meal. And I remember when my parents were like, I guess we could try that. Me and my sister looked at each other like, oh, what? What just happened? Dave and Linda, our parents?
We're not even Catholic.
I know. It's insane. So I don't know. I think I just growing up and kind of coming away from the faith and coming back to it and kind of making it my own. I don't think there is anything in the Bible against drinking alcohol. I do think there is stuff in there about like being like a drunk idiot. So, and you know, obviously sometimes you gotta find your limits to figure out what that is. But I think there is a healthy way to do it. So the bit kind of came out of like the frustration of not even really with my parents, but more with like just like the very Christian people around me. And I realize I'm just kind of using my parents as like a almost like a straw man, you know what I mean? Like for just like the bastion of things that are annoying about Christian culture, you know what I mean? So sometimes I'm just like, well, my mom, but really it's just like other annoying Christians, you know? So when I wrote that bit, I remember I was like sitting in a coffee shop where lots of Christian people hang out. And I was just like sitting around like, I bet these people aren't cool. I bet they don't drink beers. So just me, weirdly, me being judgmental is where that bit came from. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I went to a Christian church as a kid, they did the Eucharist. They did the bread, but they didn't do the wine, and that confused me so much. And now it really should be the other way around, because like the legal drinking age is 21 unless you're at a Catholic church, then it's 8. And
is that right?
Yeah, that brings things together for me.
What?
I mean, you can like at your first communion, you can go and like drink the wine.
Dang. All right.
Which
Maybe.
I mean, it's obviously a lower alcohol percentage, but still, you know, technically they're breaking the law. You're giving alcohol to minors. I don't know if there's like a statute or something.
Yeah.
But
that's wild. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Fun, right?
Yeah. That's really weird. Yeah. That we grew up Baptist, so our pastor would never drink and like would talk about not doing it, but he also had in the back of his jeans like a ring from a can of Skull. So I feel like there's something kind of off there, right? Yeah, he was a bad boy. Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's a, you know, I won't just have one, but like it's fun to joke about.
Right.
You know, I think so. There's a reason I put that up top, because I think like all that stuff is just making fun of myself. And I feel like it is such a, you know, huge part of my life. Like it's going to come up in other jokes that I have. So I want to like introduce the idea that like, yes, I'm a Christian, and 2, I'm like, we're going to have fun. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not here to be like, and listen to the gays or whatever. I'm not, not what I'm trying to do. So there's a reason that usually goes up front. So
Right.
I'm still trying to figure out a way to like, yeah, I want to be able to start another way, but that's, you know, we're grinding. We're out here trying to do stuff.
Well, and that's an awareness as a comic too, because when you say, you know, you're Christian, that plants an expectation in the audience,
right?
And subvert that expectation, just like the, you know, I'm a bad boy. Like there are so many different ways to subvert that expectation. I mean, from
Right. So hopefully I can find some more.
Yeah, right. The margarita pizza line is great. Just that little pause between margarita and pizza. It's like it's kind of a dumb joke, but it's a good joke.
It's
like,
a super
I like
dumb
dumb jokes.
It is really dumb, and that came from like literally every time we, like, there's always that like dumb thing when we're ordering pizza. Like, wouldn't it be funny if we ordered a margarita pizza? Like that's a real. We always do that. Oh man, that's a real thing. Yeah.
So is that like a Mexican pizza, or is that like... I hope it doesn't have olives on it. But yeah,
that's funny. I like that.
Salt on the crust.
The thing when people say dumb joke, obviously there's like dumb jokes, but then there's like, you know, people love laughing at that's what's so funny about it is it's dumb. It doesn't mean it's bad, right. You know, like there's dumb jokes and then there's dumb jokes, like, you know what I mean? So it's like,
dude, dumb jokes are my favorite thing. They're half my act.
Playing dumb is so much funnier to me sometimes than like, you know, or like it makes me laugh more than like intellectual jokes. Yeah. It's just so much silliness is at least as funny as any clever comedy. They're both great in their own ways, but I love silly comedy. Like, it's great.
That's like Nate Bargatze is a monster, and like half of his stuff is just like, yeah, so I didn't get it. Like that, like half of his stuff is just like, yeah, so I don't know how to add or whatever. Like I'm not an impressionist.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. We get what you mean.
Yeah.
But like so I'm with that.
Yeah, his bit on global warming is like that. It's filled with just like, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's just filled with
I am.
Yeah, it's so good. It's just like filled with little dumb jokes in there. And then the way he rebounds from it, like he'll say the line and just be like, I don't, and then like pause for a second and then continue his like thought. I don't know. A lot of his comedy, like he just admits that he's dumb, and then a lot of his jokes come from that.
Right.
So then it's acceptable to tell the dumb jokes to the audience. Like you've planted that seed and you're expecting them, and you'd be almost disappointed if he didn't.
Yeah. I agree.
As a comic, I have to make sure that I don't mix like jokes where it comes from an intellectual place versus the jokes that I have that are like, hey, I'm an idiot, because obviously there's an inconsistency there. So you either keep them completely separated or you somehow, I don't know, you can't really, it's hard to put them in the same set.
Yeah, I could see that. Unless you're literally like, I know I sound really smart in that one, but listen to this.
You're right.
You ever put shampoo on a toothbrush or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so the dry wedding, the first miracle, the Jesus turning water into wine, it has been done,
right?
But like Steve was saying, you know, you do it in a really authentic way, and you can use like what would Jesus do as, I mean, a punchline for literally anything that anyone's doing at some point, and that, you know, that communicates that you're down to have a good time. I don't know. It's a very likable joke. Like it continues to the narrative that I'm one of the good ones.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, dude. I just did a set last night where so I don't know if oh boy, this is probably.
Was it that one with the bar and there was like that fence? I remember seeing that picture.
Oh no, no, that was 2 nights ago. Yeah, okay. Where I was like, yeah, I got to keep my fan base at bay, you know. Yeah. Everybody's trying to crowd the stage.
Right.
No, no, it was another thing. But so this is like a whole other topic, and I maybe won't even want to get on this. But like, I used to be a probation officer, and right now, that is a weird thing to used to be. So last night I tried to do jokes about that, and ooh boy, it was uncomfy. Like I was able to like rebound a little bit, but they never like got all the way back on board with me. So that's another thing that I'm trying to figure out how to do too. Like I know like cops are weird, but I was one of the good ones. Like, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. So
did you do the recess joke?
Yeah, they didn't like it.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it was already, I had already made it uncomfy. Yeah. But I did give myself credit that I didn't try to pull him back by saying that my best friend was black. And even though that is true, I didn't use it.
Right.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and pat myself on the back for that.
Well done.
Yeah.
We're actually going to get to that bit.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last thing, we already kind of talked about the he got hammered. That comes up later in the story. That's one of those like unexpected twists in your bit, because you're even though you're not taking yourself so seriously, that's kind of like they don't expect that line.
Yeah.
And it got obviously a big laugh. And then when did the tag come into play? Don't worry, guys, he came back.
Just because the reaction, no matter what, is always like, haha, but oh.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole thing. Why are you getting, so just like feeling that tension. I think I did it maybe one time without that. And then just feeling that like, ooh, thing in the room, like, did you read the rest? He's fine.
Yeah.
He's living forever. And you can too, for a low price. $12.99 a month. That's kind of funny, actually.
Right. God, who's the guy that sells holy water, like packets of holy water on late night Fox News? Are either of you guys familiar?
No. Pat Robertson?
No, he doesn't sell it. I forget what you have to do to get it, but he sends in holy water from like Lourdes, France or whatever, like in ketchup packets.
What?
Yeah.
Bizarre.
So weird. But I feel like, it's one of those, you get this free holy water, but you got to donate to my televangelist. Like, yeah.
Video or non-video people, I rolled my eyes really hard, is what just happened.
That was that noise. That was actually his eyes rolling.
That happens every time. That's actually I can't keep it inside when I have to roll my eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Those are the bad ones.
It makes it really hard to talk on the phone with my mom. She's like, Zach, you staying out of trouble? I'm like, yeah, Mom. Just one. Keeping it at one. That's all that matters.
That's an interesting line to take too. The televangelist angle. Like you can communicate with one of the good ones by punching down on those guys.
Honestly, yeah, because those. Yeah, no thanks.
It's punching up. It's punching up.
Yeah,
right.
Is. Yeah,
for sure.
I'm not gonna pass around a collection plate or anything. Like I'm not one of those.
I did used to have a joke about that. I did.
Yeah.
Shoot, it was like, yeah, I'm a Christian comic, so I'll be passing around a collection plate halfway through my set. It was like, that was the exact laugh it got. It was like, huh.
Oh, that's good though. It is good.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I got rid of it. But
I think it's pretty
circle back.
funny that was the whole reason like those sects of Christianity broke away from Catholicism, was because they were charging people for forgiveness. And now you give us money and you'll be saved. You'll be part of the community. It's like, that's the thing that you guys started. Like, do you not remember the theses?
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a dude that nailed this to a door. Did you? Yeah, I don't know. What you gonna do? Bunch of hypocrites, all of them. Cancel me, Christians. I dare you.
Forgot about Martin Luther and Martin Luther King.
Dang, for real though.
All right, so let's move on to the next bit. We will talk about you being a probation officer. We're gonna fast forward to that part. So, Jeremy, take it away.
Are we going to the second video?
Let's see, the probation officer bit. So that's going to be the first video.
Okay.
448 to 517.
Cool. Shut your mouth, David. Sorry.
I am.
Hey, Jeremy, nobody's asked you. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm super good.
Nice.
Yeah, you got AC in your office now. That's got to be nice.
I'm so pumped right now.
I'm so cool.
Quiet for sound.
Yep.
Yeah. So now this is true. I'm actually a probation officer. Yikes. Okay, one person grown. I'll see you on Tuesday. That is true. I'm a Christian and a probation officer, so I guess I just love telling people how to live their life. I thought, how can I make judging a profession? And I went and did it. You guys are like, oh yeah, you guys do suck. That's it. No one ever believes I'm a probation officer because I'm very like childlike quality. Someone asks me like, Zach, what's your favorite part of going to court? I'd be like, I don't know, recess. I have a bulletproof vest. It just looks like I got it at like Oshkosh Bagosh. I do like a fun PO.
Oh man, remember we were talking about dumb jokes?
Yeah. That's the recess joke that I was referring to a few minutes ago.
But they love them, so no argument there.
Right.
Boom.
Delivery is everything, though. I don't know. Recess.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Almost, you know, if you deliver a dumb joke in a silly way, it makes it funnier. Like if you were to do that, how you've been doing the rest of your set, I feel like it wouldn't have landed the same way. It would have gotten laughs because it's funny, but.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah, it's I think I don't know. It feels like Mulaney, like I just straight up stole that from him. But you know, that's they say steal like an artist.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
it's not one of his jokes. It's just a little like
Just his, like, that's who I was channeling though when I did it the first time. I was like, how would, I don't know, just because I love him.
We all do that because comedy is not in a vacuum, you know, and it's like,
yeah.
I've done that so many times. I still do, and it's like, but it's never. It's always just like, it's weird. You can't trademark body language or a way you deliver. It's not like you've stolen intellectual property. It's a way to deliver a joke, and there's only so many ways you can do it. You know, not to make it not like a rigid thing, but like it's yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for clearing me of guilt from that.
Yeah, I know, right?
I appreciate it.
this is this is confession, and I feel like that the probation officer thing, like it's, you know, I've found a way to make judging a profession. That's very funny because it goes back to the opening bit about the heaven-bound singers. Like it's kind of that thread is connected at the end because that's your last religion-based joke in the set.
Right.
And yeah, I love callbacks. I almost love subtle callbacks more. And I don't know if you intended to do that or if like now I'm the first, you know. But I mean,
Kinda.
you open, yeah. I mean, just like the only God can judge, like that you take that criticism of Christianity and then you bring it back at the end, and it's great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, there's a reason, like, it's in that order. Like, that's my, like, go-to whatever. Like, if you asked me to do, like, a 5, like, right now, I would be like, okay. Like, I would do that. But the reason it is that is because, like, it is, like, a weird thing to bring up. So I try to push it towards the end when people, like, are comfortable with me. And also, like, because I can do that callback. Like, so I can set up that I'm the character of, like, fun, goofy Christian guy.
Right.
And then, like, yeah, so like you said, like a subtle callback is exactly it.
Yeah, and you do establish that character too. Like, I don't take myself so seriously. Like I mean, kind of through all of your bits. Through, I mean, you have a bit that we skipped about, you know, your mom and like
I do talk about her so much.
Yeah.
Love her a lot. Linda, if you're listening, big fan.
You love her that much if you call her Linda?
I just think it's always hilarious to call my parents by their names.
Right, I do it too.
Me too. Oh man, I worked at a restaurant when I was in college, and there was this like little spoiled entitled. She was like 8 years old, and she called her parents by their first name and like ordered for the table. It was one of the most baffling.
A round of chicken fingers for everybody.
Bill's gonna have the Caesar.
I would call my mom by her middle name if I knew it. But
wow.
Yeah, good times.
Turn that on her. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in trouble, Linda Ann, or whatever. Down here.
So something that's so I've been doing that for a while. Something I'm trying to figure out now is like, so I'm no longer working there. So I'm trying to figure out like how to talk about that. Especially because like I didn't leave. I mean, yeah, there's like a lot of things that like went into it, but like I didn't leave on bad terms. Like I still really loved that job and thought it was valuable. And I thought like, you know, my whole goal doing it is I wanted to keep people out of the justice system because it is messed up, you know, and it's like impossible to see that it's not messed up. And I'm very well versed in it, having a master's in criminal justice and being in it for years and years. So that was my whole reason doing it. But I did leave to pursue a job where I'm getting, you know, basically paid to do creative stuff. And I do think I want to do more with comedy. So I'm trying to figure out how to say all of that funny. But obviously everything shut down 5-6 months ago. So have not had much opportunity.
Yeah.
So,
that could be really, I mean, that could be really good. I mean, comedy with a message, but without
right
in the face with it.
Exactly. Yeah. Do not want to preach.
Right. Exactly. Now, being, you know, a Christian and getting on stage and doing that material, you know, the inverse is often true when it comes to comedians, where, you know, people are just bashing on religion.
Sure.
Did that ever like, did that ever put a bad taste in your mouth, or?
No. No, just because like, I don't know, I feel like I get it. Like all of the criticisms people have about it, like, yeah, like a lot of that is founded. Like it's founded on a real thing, and I get it. And that's like something that I had to do when I came to college, was like I had to kind of come to grips with like, man, a lot of this stuff is and there's a lot of like weird history where Christian people do messed up stuff. So I did have to come to terms with that. So like any other time when people have issues, I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's weird if you don't have issues with it. So no, I never feel that way. I don't know. I think it's just like that empathy thing of like, I get it. I have questions too, but we just ended up on different sides of the fence. You know?
Yeah, there's a duality to it for sure. You know,
right.
It's like, I think you're doing the right thing for sure. Cause you got the right middle ground of like, you're staying true to your faith, but you're also just acknowledging all that you're being honest and like outspoken about it, but also just, you know, you're living your life the way you want to.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, you know, you have to have empathy. You know, you have to see where other people are coming from. And going back to the Seinfeld analogy, like you've become the
famously empathetic Jerry Seinfeld.
No, Kramer, 100% listened to everything everyone said and did, yeah. But you know, just being that audience member, just seeing the comedy for the comedy, and like, you know, the characters in the show don't realize that what they're doing is funny, and it's, you know, you find a lot of that. People get married to whatever religious belief, whether it's a faith or a political ideology, or
sorry, I rolled my eyes again.
Yeah. You don't have to narrate it anymore. We're already familiar. We've already established the sound effect. But yeah, I mean, you know, the whole like, I have this belief and it's never wrong is the most.
You're like, for sure wrong then.
Yeah.
If you think you're never wrong, you are for sure wrong. I don't care what. Yeah. Like if you, like I tweeted this a couple of days ago, like if you make a Facebook comment in all caps, you're incorrect. No matter what the issue is, you're wrong.
You're a part of the problem.
Yeah, kind of.
That's how most of those comments end.
Honestly. And as a white man, I know about being part of the problem.
Yeah. I just woke up as part of the problem. But I mean, it's that
I mean, we're all trying to be woke, but yes, sorry, continue.
yeah.
You
I
beat me.
like being wrong because that means I've learned something, you know.
Mm,
I'm never gonna stop learning. And there's this idea that it's just like, nope, this is the belief, this is the way it is. And I think that's where a lot of religions met their first opposition. It's like nothing is final. I mean, we discovered that the fact that the earth isn't the center of the universe, and people died for that.
yeah, that's so dumb.
So dumb.
Yeah, man. Like, I think, like, I don't know the quote exactly, but like the sign of intelligence is like being able to like hold and consider a belief that you don't have. And oh boy, yeah, that's something like that. But like basically like that is what being intelligent is like being able to like consider something that even though you don't believe it, like you could see why someone would think that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Being open to new information, but also having wisdom is so important too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, you have to have a level of understanding about the way other people think, because
For
there's
sure.
people live in different circumstances. I know this is I could unpack that and I don't want to, honestly. It's just so much talking and then it just turns into, you know, but
Yeah, who are we? Joe Rogan?
I know, right? Oh
I
man.
haven't smoked weed yet, so it's
Well, I appreciate you for not, because I don't know if you listen, but I know some people. So
I've listened to a few episodes. If he has like an interesting guest on, like I was really interested in the Andrew Yang episode, and that's what really like turned me on to
Oh.
Andrew Yang.
Yeah. I don't know much about him, but he seems cool.
Yeah, he's got a podcast. He's got a podcast episode with Mark Cuban, which is really a really insightful perspective on like a podcast episode with Mark Cuban, where they talk about like the current situation and what both of them would have done if they were in charge. And it's like, wow, why couldn't you have run in 2016, Mark Cuban?
Yeah, if we're going to take a billionaire, we might as well take a competent one.
Right.
I like Mark Cuban, at least on the face value. I mean, obviously, I watch him through the media, but he seems like an intelligent guy, and he seems like he wants what's best for people. I mean, it might seem a little contradictory that he's a billionaire in some senses based on people's opinions of billionaires, but yeah, I mean, way better than Trump for sure.
Yeah,
but
the big difference. This is taking a turn. I just want to say this, and then we'll move on to the next clip. He's one that invests in small business, whereas the current president puts them out of business.
Right.
His whole career.
Stiffs them.
That's the difference between The Apprentice and Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Exactly.
He fires people, and the other one invests in them.
Yeah.
Like that, you know. God.
Yeah. Wow. That's good.
Who would you rather have running your company or your country, or, you know? Come on.
That's fair.
Yeah. So, Mark Cuban, if you're listening, invest in this podcast. No, run for president. Okay. Let's dive back. And that also has some religious undertones too. I mean, you know, this one guy claiming to be for the Christian.
Sorry, that one was unintentional. I'm sorry.
You know, if you roll your eyes and it sounds like that, you have pink eye. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, sorry, it was an ice move. I mean, I just think it's so ironic. Just why are we embracing this dude that has exemplified the opposite teaching, but says, you know, I mean, says one thing, does another, and then you've got other people that are doing the thing that are being bastardized.
I have no idea, my friend. I think. Oh boy, yeah. The two-party system is evil. Is how I feel, but
yeah, there's no such thing as good or evil. Everything exists in gray. So like to give it that dichotomy is just so limiting.
So dumb. Anyways,
that goes back to judgment-based thinking too. Like, oh, this is either right or wrong, or good or bad. It's neither of those things. It's, you know, it's part of a bigger picture.
It's a continuum.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Yeah. I think people say like a lot of stuff in the Bible conflicts, which again I see, but like even the thing with like alcohol, like there is a tension to it of like, yeah, like, you know, don't be a drunken idiot, but like you can have alcohol and not like there nuance is so much a part of like the more I learn about just Christianity, the more I learn everything has a balance, like between like, okay, so like, can I just sin and do whatever I want because God loves me, or do I have to follow all the rules and make sure I, you know, cross all my T's and dot my I's? It's like both, but also neither. You know what I mean? Like the more and more I learn about it, it's like, it's just, it's both the things. Like you have to hold both of them, and the tension of like you figuring it out, like that's the juice, like that's life, like that's where you figure it. That's where
I feel like Christianity in a lot of ways is about being measured too, because alcohol is a slippery slope, and that's why it's, you know, you warn against alcoholism, but alcohol itself isn't so bad as so much as your decisions that you make with it are, you know? So
10 million%. So look at us, a couple of white guys figured it out.
Yep. Breaking news, we did it again.
We're just so good at this.
Speaking of white guys and being woke, let's move on to the next clip, which is from Go Bananas.
Yes.
And I think you, based off of that, you get the context of what we're about to talk about. So hit that play button.
You know, so I have a lot of Christian friends. My best friend is black. Hold your applause. It's real cool. Yeah, I won't have to go to sleep tonight because I'm like so woke. But so my best friend, he was trying to tell me that he thinks that Jesus is black, which like I don't know if that's true, but it kind of makes sense because I've been waiting on him for a while. Like it's been like 2,000 years, man. Like come on, you know. That and he died for something he didn't do. Like what's more black than that?
Wow, yeah.
You guys remember when I said I was woke?
I love that joke.
It's so stressful. It's so stressful to tell.
I can see that.
Oh man, because it either like murders or it's like, oh boy. The one save that I've come up with it is literally just being like, oh boy, it's fun when people laugh at that, because when they do not, it is weird. And like that is smooth the tension more times than not. But yeah, that is even just now we were talking about cortisol. Holy cow.
Yeah.
I told that joke one time in an all black church, and my best friend who came up with me, he drove like an hour to see me tell that joke in front of an all black church.
Damn.
And just people like literally fell out of their seats. It was the best moment of my life.
That's great. That's great.
Oof.
You know, you could almost,
line. Yeah.
One thing you could do, I mean, you don't have to do this obviously, but in terms of, you know how you're like, I don't know if this is going to work. You almost, if you have any other jokes that could go before it that are like testing the waters a little bit easier, but kind of tell you what their reaction might be to what follows up with that. That could work out, but you know, do whatever you feel is right, obviously.
Yeah. I have to figure that out, what those are. Like usually people will laugh at the, what is it? I don't have to wake up because I'm woke or whatever. But I have not done that joke in a while. I mean, especially partly because of pandemic, but also just it is too true right now. You know, it feels very real. So especially like the last tag in it. Like I wrote that in 2018. So, I mean, things that were a little bit different then. It wasn't like as much in your face, and people were probably marginally aware of the issue, but not as much. So yeah, I haven't done that one in a while. I don't know if I'll bring it back. I might, just when things aren't so tense. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So it's it's weird because it is like, obviously, like that is, as someone who's familiar with the criminal justice system, like, yeah, like black people killed by police is insane. Like how just the disparity between races is bonkers. And so I want to be like pushing that ball forward of like, how can we like help change things, but also when's the time to make a goofy joke about it? I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that too. I mean, that's one of those jokes that can give perspective to somebody who either isn't aware of the problem or is on the other side of the problem. Because now like Jesus was killed by the police.
Yeah.
Technically. So
right.
for something he didn't do. So I mean, that's one of those, you're making a point without saying those exact words to like
right.
Being explicit about it. It's a very implied bit. And I mean that laugh break. I mean, that was, you had to take a minute and wait for the room to calm down. I mean, it's a really good joke.
Thanks, man. It's very fun when it goes great. I've told it when it doesn't. But yeah, it's one of those, like it is very stressful to tell.
Yeah.
But
I almost like when my jokes that are edgy like that don't work, because it almost like confirms my bias about people. Like the reason I'm telling this joke is that, you know, like I'm trying to make a point. You're the people I'm trying to connect it to.
Right. You're the people that need to hear this.
Yeah. At the same time, it's a personal message to myself. Like I need to make this joke a little bit tighter or find a way to connect it to that. So I'm, like we were talking about earlier, like constantly working on material to make sure it connects with audiences. Because that's the number one goal as a comedian, is you have to connect with the audience.
Right. Yeah. 10 million %. Yeah. And that is what some people have told me about, like the first line, like the, what is it? The, Jesus being late or whatever. Like I've been waiting on him for a while. I've been in all white rooms where they do not like that. Because they're like, are we allowed to laugh? But like I said, in the black church, it murdered. Yeah. So there's that weird balance of like, I don't know, sometimes like people don't know if they're allowed to laugh at it too. So like I have to like look around if there's like a good mix of people, honestly, to see if I even tell that joke. I do jokes
like that as well, where it's about black people, but it's in a good light, or at least in my circumstance, I tell a joke and black people love it because they're like, yeah, I'm just being honest. And white people are like, am I not allowed to like laugh at that? Am I allowed to laugh at that? I don't know. And it's like, just trust me on this. Like, you're being a little too sensitive. Because after all, my point is like you were saying, it's a joke. It's not meant to be literal. It's like you're playing on a stereotype, but you're literally making a joke about the stereotype. You're not saying, hey, this is true.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you have to establish that sarcasm or that the fact that you're satirizing it, because sometimes you go in and out of being just like honest and real with people, and then you go into something that is meant to be satire, and that's where the inconsistency can be misconstrued. So it's weird, you know.
Yeah, man, white people be fragile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and be offended on your behalf. Like that's selfish in itself, you know. That's like,
for sure.
You're doing it again, white people. You're taking some pictures and you're making it your own.
Am I allowed to say black? I want to say African American. It's like, don't just say black. They love say it's black. Just say it. It's all right.
Yeah. Man, the people that are calling Kamala Harris African American, it's like, that's incorrect.
Yeah, not even,
Right.
Friends, here's a real thing about my life. I have the smallest bladder. What's the odds we could take a pause to pee?
Pee pause? Let's do it.
Perfect.
Do it. Yeah, I just want to talk about your dating bit, and then we can wrap it up. So
love it.
Yeah, do your thing. I thought he was going to take us to the bathroom with him.
Hey, I'm going to go too, actually. I might as well. So
That's all pee.
Yeah, we're all synced up like women on their period.
Bunch of comics on our periods.
Periods, yeah. Okay, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Wait, are we cutting? We're cutting right now, or we're just gonna
Right.
roll and then cut it out? Either way, I'll just put
edit
my
in
phone
some
down.
I'll edit in some hold music.
Okay. Yeah, just put on some elevator.
Yeah. Or just the sound of like pee hitting water. Yeah. There you go. You heard me. Yeah, cue up that clip.
Oh, it's cute, bitch.
All right, we're taking a pee break.
Great chatting.
Good stretch. Thank you. Just stretching my legs. I don't really have to pee that bad, but maybe I do. I don't know.
I don't have to pee at all for once in my life.
Well, now it's late. Now I'm late. Now I'm going to go up there and be like, come on, David, you can do it. And then I'll be able to. I'm excited for Antonio, too. I was on his radio show, and we were on for like 2 hours just shooting the shit. It was so much fun. So
That's cool.
that'll be good. How much time do you have?
I mean, I've got time. I don't have to leave. I don't have to be there until 5.
Pop it in for another half hour.
And we back. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all.
Like I can.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Ah! Don't attack me. I know.
Buried. You and I had pretty similar upbringings. I also grew up in a religious. My parents were deacons at a non-denominational church. You know,
Whoa.
regular Christian.
Freaking deacons.
Yeah, dude. The non-denoms. So you guys were like already cool.
Non-denoms.
Love that. Yeah, dude. Something I wonder about, like, if so I had to leave like traditional church and find like cool church. But like, if I have kids and I raise them in cool church, does that mean they're gonna?
Yeah, you're gonna rebel.
Yeah, I don't know. Are they gonna rebel no matter what?
You're
I
gonna
don't know.
I think they rebel if it's more of a strict, like, no, we have to do this by the book. Like,
I hope, man. I don't know.
it's more resistance.
I don't know. I feel like I already have dad energy though. So
Very much so do. Not that as a compliment.
thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, Dad, I would love for you to be my dad.
Aw,
I'm gonna be honest.
wow, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna
You
come
know
down.
what?
I'm gonna come
Next
down to
time-
Cincinnati, and then you're gonna tell me bedtime stories and drive me to soccer practice.
And we'll have a catch.
Yeah,
We'll have a catch.
I'll bring my glove.
Wow. You go, sport. So proud of you.
It'll be improv.
Steve's back on the moves.
The rising star.
Yeah.
I look like I'm on a conspiracy podcast.
You're gonna be talking about how the Earth is flat. That's what you're.
All right. Look, that's just a wide angle lens.
You see Brian Sternick's tweet the other day? It was a
Yeah.
it was one of those mats like that you had as you were a kid with like of the town where you like play
Oh,
your
yeah.
cars on it, and he was like, this is a globe to flat earthers.
That's
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah. All right, let's dive back in to this is a subject that we haven't gotten into. We've talked about more of like the religious dogma side of things, but now
Right.
we're going to talk about religious dating.
Oh, yes.
Are you? Do you have a girlfriend now?
I have 4.
All right.
No, I'm kidding. No, I don't. I'm a man about town, going on dates, living life, you know?
Little Latter Day Saint.
No, I'm not. No, I do think, you know, you pick one and done.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I don't.
It's so romantic the way you said that.
Yeah, that's. I had a very wise man say to me once, you know, you pick your love and then you love your choice.
Mm.
You know, you just gotta stick with it. Everything I hear about marriage, like whenever I ask someone like, hey, how's marriage? It's like they go dead in the eyes. And they're like, it's so good. You're gonna, oh man, it's tough. Oh, it's tough, but it's good. It's good, but it's tough. So tough and good. All those, it's always that.
Give me
like,
another
dude-
drink. I'm not getting
Yeah.
a divorce like I'm a Catholic.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I'm looking forward to it because I want to, you know, I hear sex is cool, but I don't know.
Yeah, one and done.
Yes, exactly.
That's why I tell my girlfriend before I go to bed every night. No, it's not the choice you make; it's what you make of the choice. So, that's a better thing than what I said right before that. So,
It's very nice.
yeah. All right. Let's dive
Does
into
she
the
listen to this?
No.
All right.
This is an outlet for me to talk shit. No, she's great. Jeremy, let's roll that clip and bring it on home.
Roll that beautiful bean footage. Here we go.
So I'm dating a person now, a Christian person, a lady because it has to be, and it's real fun, you know. She was homeschooled, so she's like a stereotype or whatever, and it's real cool. I've been able to like show her all kinds of things she's never seen before, stuff like women wearing pants, and you know, people she's not related to, stuff like that. Really cool. I'm gonna have dinner with her parents in a couple weeks, so I'll get to sit in on a PTA meeting. So I'm excited about that. That'll be real cool. We actually we went on a first date recently. We actually did the hottest thing you can do on a Christian first date. Anybody know what that is? Set boundaries. Nailed it. Set boundaries. That is Christian first base. And second base is just being in the same Bible study. Third base is side hugs. And fourth base is just 17 kids. There's no in between. Right. We had a lot of talk about, you know, like, hey, what's your favorite Kirk Cameron movie? It was great. Best part was I didn't even have to walk her home at the end because her parents were there the whole time. All right. Those are great.
That's Blake Hammond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Blake, that's the guy that flicked me off when I told the Raising Hell.
Really?
Yeah.
He's so funny. He's actually going to be on the podcast in a few weeks.
Oh heck yeah.
We're
He
gonna
is,
talk
I look up to him so much. He's the best joke writer that I know.
Oh, dude, his Twitter. If you're not following Blake Hammond on Twitter, follow him.
Monster.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk dating.
Yes.
We
Let's
kind of
talk about sex. All right.
kind of already. So you took the trope, the bases trope, and you made it your own, which, you know, that's one thing that we talk about on this podcast is how you can take like a cliche joke and make it your own and make it fresh and make it interesting again. And like extreme Christian baseball. Like, I mean, that's third base side hugs. That's funny. I mean, they're all like funny lines, but then the last one.
Right.
And also, did you mean to call it fourth base?
So many people. So many people have brought that up. I don't know why I say fourth. I know base. I watch sports. I get it. I don't know why I say fourth base.
It's just funnier too. Like, why say home plate when you can, or home run or whatever, like a run when you can just say fourth base and make it a little bit funnier. Yeah. You know, so.
You're right.
Or like you're adding bases because you don't want to get to home. Like, it's like you're kind of dragging it on maybe, or like, not ready yet. Like that kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? That's
really funny. Yeah. Yeah, I will keep the fourth base thing because, you know, you guys don't own me.
Yeah, I like it too. And I feel like, too, the audience is like, wait, did he just say fourth base? Doesn't matter. That joke is hilarious. Like, you almost distract from the fact that you say it. So, I mean, it's. I'd say keep it. I vote keep it.
But it was not intentional. No, that's just me being an idiot.
Yeah, and if you really want to like keep going, you'd be like fifth base and sixth base and seventh. Basically,
that's funny.
These are commandments. Is what
that's funny. Yeah,
thou shalt have as many bases as you need to get this joke. I don't know.
Right.
But
that's interesting. What if I could expand on the baseball analogy a little bit? Like, you know, sometimes you can't do it all your own. You got to artificially inseminate, call in a pinch hitter.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
That's funny, but I love the jump to 17 kids, because that's again another like
Dude.
religious trope. Is like, oh, you have all these kids because you can only have sex for the purpose of reproduction.
It's so true, man. Like, yeah, you graduate, you get married at 22, you have your first kid 3 years later, if that, and you just keep pumping them out until your body says you're done. That seems to be.
What an unsatisfying, like, to me, that's more of a sin, is to have a connection with somebody and then take this like intimate experience that you can really connect on a deeper level with another human being and turn it into like baby factory. Like, I'm only doing this to put a kid in you.
Right.
I want my name to live on. Like,
honestly, I mean, the Bible is very pro-sex. Like, there's a whole book about it. Song of Solomon. That's Solomon just being a little horn dog. It's like your breasts are twin fawns. What does that mean? You have the you have the teeth of a goat. I don't know.
That's hot.
Yeah.
I love when you chew leaves.
Chew up this light bulb. It'll do something. Yeah.
We used to joke about the Song of Solomon in school as kids. Like we just die laughing the whole time.
He's talking about boobies.
Yeah. Mounds, I think he used in that. But you're totally right. When did it become this transactional thing? When did sex become this transactional thing, like on a religious level? Who did that?
Oh boy, I don't know. Who didn't do it?
Yeah,
or
right.
Like, know what I mean?
This is
right.
somebody.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Somebody who didn't either A, care about the well-being of the woman, the ladygasm, or someone who, I don't know, just wasn't good in bed. They were like, no, you can only have sex to have kids. Otherwise, it's a sin. So that's that.
Yeah, the Ben Shapiro of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ben Shapiro definitely had a hand in a few chapters of the Bible, for sure.
But not hands on any ladies. Am I right? What's
Right.
up? High five. High five. All right.
I'm here for that. Now, and then, I mean, that's, what is like dating? I mean, how would you describe dating with your belief system? Like, because I mean, to me, I'm curious, because I mean, to me, obviously growing up Catholic, there's no.
Sure. Yeah, dude. Definitely like just like the people say like evangelical. I don't know if I like define myself as that, but just because it has so many negative connotations, but like definitely like the evangelical way to do it is you marry somewhere either right out of high school or right out of college now. And if you're past the age of that and you didn't get married, sorry, you didn't pray hard enough to find a spouse or whatever. So like definitely like being single and in your mid-20s as a Christian person is weird. It's weird, dude. And the church has just not found a good way to like talk to like single people, because like that's like a whole thing too. Paul was like, being single's chill, y'all. Like you can do it. It's fine. I mean, obviously I do want to get married at some point, just because I hear, I like touching ladies with my mouth on their mouth. So I want to do more of that. But yeah, it's always like the thing too of like, if you go on a date, then it's like, when's the ring coming? Probably within less than a year. So yeah, the ring by spring, you've probably heard that. That's a thing at Christian colleges. It's like kind of a joke, but also not. Like at like Christian colleges, like you got a lockdown. It's like, yeah, man, it's like, there's just something about like, you got to find a Christian broad to carry on the faith with. It's like you're fishing from a pond that's about to run out, one of those pay lakes. you know?
It's pay licks.
So, yeah. And that, by the way, the set boundaries on a first date, that did come from a real thing. That really happened. Like, I was like, we're like, all right, so obviously we like each other. We're only going to stay vertical when we're hanging out, and you can't go horizontal. I think that's just wise. You know, butts are okay, boobs are not. Like, it's just like that whole like setting boundaries thing, like that is real. And I remember when that happened, like as we were doing it, I was like, this is hilarious. Does anybody else do this? Like, probably not. So I didn't know how else to do it other than just like, I had played around with the idea of like the bases thing for a long time. I think before it was talking about when I was like in the marching band, talking about like the marching band bases, but really like that wasn't even right because like there's the whole like sexually active band kids, like that's a thing. That was not me. So it came from a bit that failed, and I just kind of repurposed it into this thing. Yeah.
Do you do that because you say you perform in front of churches?
Mm-hmm.
Too. Do you do that bit in different congregations?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. They do like this one.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that's like a little, what I've learned is a lot of my stuff is like for normal comedy, for like normal stand-up in like a club or whatever, squeaky clean.
Mm-hmm.
But in a church, some of this stuff is kind of edgy. I learned that the hard way. There's this comedian, Michael Jr., who is a Christian comedian, who is very funny. Mm-hmm. And I got to open for him at Crossroads, which is like the big mega church or whatever that I work for. And it was like a 3,000 person auditorium, which is crazy. Like, who gets to do that? It was awesome. But like, I did the Black Jesus joke, and oh boy, just
wow, yeah.
The tension of it was really weird, and I don't know if I like again fully recovered from that. But the one thing I remember is as I was walking out, I was like kind of like defeated, like, oh man, that was like stressful. There was an older Black man who just looked at me from like across the atrium, and we locked eyes, and he went.
Nice. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Give me a little nod and a thumbs up. It was pure.
It feels like there might be some intersectionality of political views there too, where you got a big church and a lot of those people are conservative, let's face it. And then it's one of those things where, yeah, it's just a little bit, I was going to say, man, you could make so much money touring churches,
right.
But you're right, though. You are a little bit edgy in that respect, too. But it's like, I don't know. But, yeah, it's quality. It's so, you know, it's like, yeah.
It. So that's the weird thing is, like, I have done churches. I don't know. There are some comedians that I know that like do both clubs and churches. And I think that's like, if I do like tour or whatever, like I probably would do that. Like, I would probably stick to the clubs and prefer clubs, but I mean, say what you will about church gigs. They got money. And also, remember what I said about covered dishes. Like,
right.
That's it. They'll feed you. They'll feed you, you know?
Yeah.
So I'll do both. I think I would like to do both.
A bigger audience. I mean, not a lot of comedians dive into the church market, that's for sure. So
yeah, for sure. So like there's this comedian, oh boy, he was canceled, whatever, came back, John Christ. But he was a guy who, before all that, like I looked up to as like someone who did do both of those things and did it well, from what I could tell. Fun thing, I learned I was supposed to open for him at the Comedy Attic in Bloomington. And then the day that news came out was the day they told me I would be hosting for him. So they're like, oh, hey, by the way, this show is canceled, and so is John.
What did he do?
Oh, just be creepy. Like, use tickets to like draw girls back to his hotel room and do everything except have sex so he could stay a virgin. Yeah, isn't that messed up?
Wow, I didn't expect that story to take that turn at the end.
I know. That's, dude, this stuff runs deep.
Butts are fine, boobs are not.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. He's like attempting to come back, and I don't know. I haven't seen anyone, huh?
I was gonna say he's not allowed to pronounce his name as John Christ now, I think.
That changed his last name.
Yeah.
It's not Christ-like, it's Christ-like.
Christening. Break
That's
a
what he
bottle
calls
over
it.
my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I noticed this with all your jokes. You have like a lead-in joke that kind of, I don't know, like for the woke one for the Black Jesus.
Yeah. You're right.
Probation officer one. You love telling people how to live their life. You just have like these soft lead-in jokes that like let people know this is a new bit without saying this is a new bit. And you do that really well, like
thanks,
meeting
man.
somebody, a lady, because she has to be. Like that's such a good way to bring it in. And then the homeschool bit, again, we've seen so many comics talk about like being homeschooled and then dating,
right?
Like, and then it's like, oh, this is an incest joke. Like we've seen that before. So the way that you present it in like showing her new things, like women who wear pants. I mean, you could do a list of like.
There's more too.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I've written more. I don't know if I do more. I've done them. One of them is a science book not written by Ken Ham.
Yeah.
There's probably some others. I don't know. That PTA thing I think is so funny, but I can't make it work. I can't make it like punch. It's like people are like, haha, okay.
Yeah.
I think the PTA thing is hilarious, but it just doesn't.
I thought it was really good. I laughed. Yeah, it was funny.
Oh, well, thank you. But
yeah.
You're not most audiences.
I take that as a compliment, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is.
Yeah.
I see that as like not the peak of a joke. Like if you imagine a joke as like a peak, like you have different jokes that lead you to the big punchline, and then you've got a couple tags to kind of bring it back down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good. It might not be the peak joke, but it's the way you haven't looked at it before, and then you bring it back at the end with her parents didn't leave the whole time.
Yeah. That's a good insight, though. I didn't realize I do that. Like when I'm doing a setup, I feel like I have to have like a quick punch, just so I don't know. I think that's just because I'm like terrified of silence or whatever. So that's probably more. That is my insecurity coming out in punchlines, which is
you're not the only one.
Yeah, which is what we do.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a good insight. I didn't realize I did that, but you're right.
I mean,
totally
every
bit
we talked about has been, there's always been like that big punch, and then you have a couple tags, and then we're moving on to the next bit of this. You do that. You structure it really well. I'm surprised that you didn't realize. It seems measured.
It's all a facade.
Yeah. That almost makes it even better. Now don't change anything then. Don't even try. It's all good.
Yeah, no, I do like, when I write out my set list, like I have like all the little lines and like hopefully obviously build to the biggest laugh at the end and milk it until it's dead. That's the hope.
Oh, for sure. A joke is, even then, like a joke is never dead. Like you can bring it back a couple years later and think of a new tag.
Right.
You're performing from a new angle.
Yeah. So I think I overstructure sometimes because I don't trust myself enough to like riff on stage or whatever. So that's where I think the next like phase of me like leveling up in comedy is like just being more comfortable with that on stage. So like I do love structured jokes, and like when a joke is like that's what I love the most is like when you can tell something was like well written and someone thought through all the parts of it. Like I love that. But there's just like also some magic of just like being in the room, and like when I get tripped up, like when I bomb or when I feel like I bomb is when I get trying to like remember what the words were that I wrote down. and it's like I'm reading a script rather than just like hanging out with pals.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to find that balance. So yeah, I do love the structure part of it, but I'm trying to bring the other side along too. So it's just like we're hanging, and also here's a story.
Yeah, that's a good energy to keep when you're on stage. It's like, we're just having a conversation here.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys shut up, but
yeah. The good comic does is like talks with you. So even though you're not saying anything as an audience member, like it feels like you're part of the conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the hope.
That's like a next level of connection.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's probably say what?
I was just gonna to call back to your to the Jesus Got Hammered bit. I mean, that being an off the cuff comeback to a heckle, now it's like a huge laugh is
right.
I mean, so you're already getting to that next level. Like you already have enough of that comfort. So it's just,
oh, thanks, man. It comes and goes.
Yeah.
Just like I'm sure you guys know,
Yeah.
The confidence comes and goes, but we're working on it. So that's why I'm very excited to be back on stage for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't feel the same not being able to write new stuff and then try it like right away.
Right.
Really feel it.
Yeah. I did do one new joke, like coming out of everything, and it felt good to have one new joke. Oh man.
Did you do the toilet paper one that
No. You know what? I did try to do that. I tried to open the first like in-person show I did. I tried to open it with that. Ate it. Nothing. Nothing. So I don't know. Maybe I'll find a way to bring that back, but it's yeah.
I just like the visual of a bidet that's a super soaker.
Right? Like I think that's fun.
Yeah. But. Awesome. All right. We're running out of time. So
yes.
If there is anything that you would like to add, we didn't talk about Christian Mingle, which just out of curiosity, is that something that you've tried? You've tested the waters on?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. I can't. For some reason I've downloaded Tinder, but it like feels too gross. Like I don't know. I don't know. That's just me being dumb.
No, you're right though. It is gross.
I third that. I third that. It's not.
It's like the most unclassy of the dating apps. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
It does seem to be that. Yeah. I don't. I know people that have met people on there and they're great, and I'm sure.
Yeah.
Real things have happened, but I just it feels gross to me. I've done Bumble though, so shouts out.
Bumble is nice.
Ladies, yeah.
Bumble and Hinge are classy, nicer. They're more geared towards like real, so.
Yeah, and I found the more that I obsess over dating apps, the less like just things happen with females in my life. You know what I mean? So I think it's like the less I even think about that, I just become more of an actual person and not just like a thirsty little boy.
Right.
Like obsessing about the wording of a joke on stage. Like you don't come off as natural.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, honestly. It's like that whole thing of like the tighter you hold on to something, the more it slips away.
Right. Forcing things and it's dating sites exploit all my weaknesses because I'm just terrible with texting, like, and trying to be like, I can't even be funny in text. I forgot how to do that since the AIM days. Like I can do it, but I can't be like, hey, it just doesn't work. I seem so boring on dating apps. I mean, obviously some people be like, but you are boring, Steve. But that's not true. But it's weird.
You're not. You're in space.
I
know, right? Seriously, I'm in fucking space right now. But anyways, so it's not. I work for Tesla. I'm an engineer.
That job sounds boring.
Yeah.
Because he has the boring company. That was a big leap. That was a big leap. Sorry.
I fell. I didn't make the leap.
Yeah, that's all right.
Whatever.
Well, I'm really glad we ended this joke writing podcast with that dud. That's what you don't do, friends.
You know what's been in my head for the last couple of minutes is the Farmers Only jingle.
What's that?
You don't have to be lonely with farmersonly.com. Like, I feel like all dating websites or dating apps should have that. Like, you don't have to be single with christianmingle.com.
That's so funny.
That's another.
That's so funny.
I'm just trying to cover for your bomb with that bomb. So
Thank you. Appreciate it.
got it. I'm here to help. All right, Zach, thank you for joining us. It's been very insightful. This is a lot of fun.
Thanks, man. Thanks
And
for having me.
It's always nice to get a fresh angle on a topic that's done to death. Christianity, we tend to see the same point of view over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's really
done
nice.
to death and then to life again.
Yes, that's how we're gonna close it out. Zach, do you have anything you want to plug? Social media?
Yeah, I am at _Wycuff, WACH_ZYCUFF. Good luck spelling that. If you figure it out, that's how I know you're a real fan.
Yeah.
And not an only fan, which is,
Yeah.
Well done.
which brings us back to our Patreon.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing some commentary on the old episodes and do like little 10-minute mini episodes.
Oh, cool.
So if you would like to become a patron and be part of that, check us out, patreon.com/YouCan'tLaughPod. Because actually, before I close it out with that, Steve, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I had a good time though, for sure.
It was
Likewise.
an honor.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise. Thanks for coming on. And thank you for helping us prove that no matter what, no matter how dark, no matter how light, any topic is, it can be funny. And you can laugh at that. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, gang.
Yeah, thank you, man. We enjoyed your being on. So